There's Dan.
Hello.
Hello,
Hey,
sir. There's Barb. I hear her.
can you see me now?
Now I can see you. I can see you now. I can see you.
Okay, excellent.
Well, welcome to Bars and Beliefs. And what day are we? I think we're the 18th of February.
We
We've
are.
had Valentine's Day. And sometimes Valentine's Day is a very triggering day
Yeah?
because of our thoughts and beliefs about it and about relationships. And I'm going to let that one sit there for a moment because bars and belief, and I said bars and beliefs, thoughts and beliefs are really a lot the same as bars and belief because they do keep us stuck in our minds. I had a friend who does not do well when they're hungry. Their body chemistry gets out of whack and they get really snarly. I'm just going to say snarly. And part of my job is to watch my thoughts, watch my beliefs, and know that that's not about me. The snarl, no matter who it's out, it's not mine. I had a doctor's appointment this afternoon and I had to look at thoughts and beliefs. He was going down my list of you have this and this and this, and it's hard to believe that you have all of those. They're on my list, so I guess I have them. So that means my thoughts and my beliefs don't even care if I have them. But a lot of it has just been reconditioning and retraining. And because I know what both of you do, if you're interested, if you would like, tell me how working with your thoughts and beliefs is changing the impact you have with the use of your patch product and being able to share it.
We're working with our thoughts and beliefs and how it affects us in sharing our products, our business.
In sharing it, but also in the efficacy of the product.
Very cool.
I'm going to hang up on that phone call because he knows it's not time to call me.
Good.
And no, that's not my snarly friend. Hopefully he'll realize it's time. So Barb, Dan, either one of you?
I was letting ladies go first, but it doesn't, I mean, I'm fine. First of all, I believe in the product. I go to what I say is and reading positive motivation books changed my life. And so I will say that you cannot listen to something positive every day and be unaffected. It will affect you. And so when I listen to all the testimonials of what people have experienced using LifeWay products, I cannot be unaffected. And then when you look at the research, and we just heard a doctor this evening at 5 o'clock, a medical doctor talking about his experience and his beliefs, if you will. Somebody who is a contrarian, probably, if you want to call it that, to hocus pocus magic healing, who believes and who uses it, and who is 68 years old and he looked like 45 probably. When I look at Dr. Stacy, who is 50 and her biological markers are 25. So you have chronological and you have biological. I don't know what mine is. I'll be 77 this year, but people say I look okay for 90. But so I have no problem sharing, at the moment, we may not be sharing it in the right way yet. Because we haven't expanded to where I know we will go. But I have the faith that, it's a good product. We believe in it. We use it. It works, and we see it work. We're working on ourselves. So I have no problem with, we were told yesterday, well, we can buy this at Walmart. I'm like,
Sure
you
you
should,
can.
you shouldn't be able to. But if that's the only way you want to do that, go buy it at Walmart because it works. And then if you want to come back and buy it wholesale and you want to, get a little better deal on it or learn more, well, then come talk to me. But if Walmart's the only way that you'll try it, go to Walmart and try it. So, I mean, that's my philosophy on it. And, I think that, I don't know, do you need more than that? Because I can probably go on for a while.
Just don't get him a microphone.
That's
Otherwise,
kind of
you'll
like
never
me.
get him off.
That's really like me. One of the experiences I've had with essential oils and Walmart. Yes, Walmart has essential oils. Some are food grade. The ones in the perfume count, the scent area where the wax things are and the candles and the incense are not food grade. But a lot of people think that because Walmart has these products, that they're legitimately sourced, they're legitimately harvested, they're legitimately processed, and people don't understand that, oh, if it's cheap, it's still good because it's from Walmart. But they don't understand the quality. So if somebody's finding something like the patch at Walmart, I can think of a few pain patches that are carried over the counter. But they're to stop a pain symptom, not to correct a situation. So if you talk to somebody and that's their criteria, it's like, well, it needs to be at Walmart or I can find it at Walmart. Education, and then come back if you want to know more. But Barb, before we give him back the microphone.
So thoughts and beliefs, how is that affecting my the way I do business, the way I think about the product? I think my thoughts and beliefs on the product quality and its performance and how I present it to people is effective. I think it's something that people need to hear about because it does make such a difference in the body at an affordable price compared to alternatives of injections. And although there are differences in those prices, between the mid-thousands to the higher thousands of dollars to get it. So I think it's well worth the effort to let people know it's available. There's an alternative. So that's why I went into it. And I still believe in that. And that it can affect you in so many different ways, and all your body systems, all your organs, your brain is phenomenal. And people still say no. And some people will look it up and research it. Most people won't, I think. But sometimes it just takes time for people to grok it and let it settle through them. I think I have limiting beliefs that has inhibited me in my performance, and we're doing a 10-day challenge on learning how to do social media, which has been a stretch for me. Talk about putting you in your uncomfortable zone. You have to get out of your comfort zone to progress, which is what every educator on marketing tells you. So I've been stretching some lately with that, especially in other ways too, with it.
And you mentioned limiting beliefs. Have you tracked out and just being able to force your way through those limiting beliefs? Have you encountered, and I would probably say, what ways do you manage those hindering beliefs?
Well, over probably the last 10 years, I've certainly looked at them and certainly identified them and continually do that to see what has slowed us down. We were going pretty well, and then just before my ankle fracture, it just kind of slowed way down and almost stopped. And I figured, some of that has to do with my resistance to getting into social media, and other things for various reasons that I've never wanted to and have not participated much in social media and gathering in groups of people. I have a girlfriend who, as soon as she meets somebody, she asks for their, to be able to put them on she wants to friend them and put them on her list. This is Dina, Dan, and she has every person we ever hired at our clinic has their social media access. And I think it has to do with age and being kind of born into that, or being on the edge of that group of people who really got into it when it started and really liked it. And I didn't even want a cell phone. When Dan wanted to give me a cell phone, I really didn't even want a cell phone, let alone, talk to a lot of other people or try to manage a friend group or do something with a friend group. So
That sounds really familiar.
but you did good with your social media. I liked your live. Oh, maybe it wasn't live. When I saw you, when you were talking, where did I see you? I saw you at Tulare. You were at Tulare because I
Turlock.
didn't know where you were.
Yeah, Turlock probably.
I
I
meant,
was at
yeah,
I was at
the other T
Reilly one
town.
day and the other T word the other day.
Oh, we
But
need
Tulare is on my brain a lot because it's one of my anchors right now.
one of your anchors.
Anchors. Yeah, one of the things that's just holding my thoughts, keeping me hindered. It's an interesting topic because there's a lot of decisions that are going to go into it, and making decisions is one of my challenges, one of my limiting beliefs, one of my habits. Dan, have you run across any limiting beliefs?
Oh, my philosophy is, in absence of a good plan, do something. I'm not always comfortable with everything, but I try not to let that stop me. I did stand-up comedy for 6 months, and the first night it went really, really well. So it's like I should do this all the time. And I did 2 nights a week for 6 months and at a national chain called the Funny Bone. But
Hmm.
after the first time, pretty much every time I drove up to the parking lot, my hands were gripping the steering wheel. And I'd go inside and I'd have to go to the bathroom 3 or 4 times a minute before I had to get on. But, it's a rush. It's a rush. And once I had the microphone in my hand, I was okay. And I was probably not great, but I wasn't bad because they never asked me to get new material. Because what they would do is if you weren't connecting with the audience, they would give you 2 weeks to get new material. Because people are paying to hear this and they need to be entertained. And if you're not doing that, they have people that want that time.
Sure.
And so for me, there were 2 clubs. One was blue collar, one was white collar. And I used the same material at both of them, but the white collar got it. The blue collar, sometimes I'd have to tell them it was funny. But and so there's things about comedy that the more intelligent your audience, the easier it is to make them laugh and the more subtle you can be. And so I was not a F you every other word. In fact, I use very little profanity, if any. And so I was probably the cleanest act there. But I don't understand everything I'm doing right now. I'm on Hazine, I'm on Canva, I'm on Close, which is my CRM. I have Act, I have I have things that I'm paying for and stop paying for. I was on Calendly and I stopped that because there's another way that I can do it that's free. So I mean, and just keeping up with all the crap is pretty tough.
Yeah.
And I'm just fighting my way through it because the only way you lose is if you quit. And so if you don't quit, you will get there. I don't know when it'll be, and some people will say, well, I'm going to be senior presidential director at the end of the year. Well, I'm more like 2 or 3 years. And that's a limiting belief, by the way, because it could be at the end of this year if I did the right things, met the right people, did all that stuff, because Marcy, who is way above us and ahead of the line, if you will, she said she built her business with 4 people. Just we haven't found the right 4 people. Right now we're looking for 1 or 2. But you just we have some people. We have people that we're helping. We have a lady in town that doesn't do iron infusions anymore. Her kidney numbers are better. Kathy, who is in Missouri, told us yesterday that she ran out of X39. Well, first of all, she has stairs, and she said before she got X39, every time she'd go up the stairs, her legs were like lead pipes. She said she got to the X39 the first day, it went away. And she said she ran out just a week or so ago, and the lead pipes came back. She ordered some X39, got it back the day that it came, the lead pipes went away, and she's running up and down the stairs again. And for some people, that's how it works. And so, but I am, if you believe in the technology and you believe it's activating your stem cells, it's doing something. We don't know what it's doing. It's probably not doing what you want it to do, but it's doing what it needs to do, and it's your body directing it to that point. And so, in my mind, everybody should be using X39. So at least that. And the other things we use as well, and we have seen like the SP6, which is the blood works with the blood and the cravings, and we have seen people that immediately cravings went away. It did for us, but we have other people that we've sponsored that it worked for them and the cravings went away. So we know that it works for some people for sure. And so the technology is there. We believe in it. Or I believe in it. And Barb, I think Barb believes in it. She got me started on it. It's her fault. So
I just want to go back and touch on something you said, Dan. If you don't have a plan, just go do something.
yeah, in absence of a good plan, do something. You know, I mean, doing nothing doesn't accomplish anything.
And that's a huge limiting belief that a lot of people have. If they don't have a good plan, we'll just go to bed until maybe we can think of one.
You know, and you get it. I mean, if you get into business and you have a business plan, there's all kinds of things that go. There's like 4 different categories there. If you have a bad plan and a bad manager, it's not going to work. If you have a bad plan and a good manager, you have some hope. If you have a good plan and a bad manager, it still may not work. If you have a good plan and a good manager, the best of all worlds, you know, you may have a really good chance. So you just, you know, but doing something, you know, when I hired on in Fresno, guy that hired me told me later, he says, you know, I hired you, but you know what the shit you're doing. And he gave me $56 million to play with.
There you go. That was just one of those plans that you didn't have, correct?
Well, you know, you know, the way that went, you probably haven't heard this, Barb's heard it before, but you know, the way it went was I came to Fresno to apply for a operations manager's job. And basically sent me home, said, we don't need you. And that was an interview with the vice president. And so then I went back and I went back home and I sent my resume to the president. And I applied for the general manager's job, which is a step above the operations manager. And I called him and he said, well, this resume doesn't say you can do the job. And I said, well, it's what I had on hand. I wanted to get it to you quickly. I really had it for the operations manager's job, but I needed to get something in your hand. He said, it doesn't say you can handle a sales team. I said, this is a cold call to you. Have you noticed? And he's like, it hasn't gone unnoticed. And he says, I've never heard of these colleges. And I said, everyone can't afford to go to Pepperdine and Stanford. These are accredited schools. What's your concern? He basically said, I'll call you back. And he called me back. And I flew to San Jose. And he put me in his plane. And we flew down to Bakersfield. And I got interviewed by my future sales manager. And basically he was seeing if I could get along with him, I guess, and, you know. And also it was a meeting of some sort, a bunch of people, and he wanted to see how I interacted. And so we flew back to San Jose and he offered me a job. And it was more pay than the ops manager, and it was also had stock options that the other one didn't have. And so I got the job. So now, do you want the rest of the story?
It's your story to tell.
Well, only if you want to hear
it. There's got to be, yeah, let's go ahead and hear the rest. This is live, okay? Do you want me to set the timer and get this stage hook?
Here's the rest of the story. I'm on my way home. His secretary calls me and says, what's your credit card number? And I said, I'm sorry, why? And he said, well, we want to book you on a flight to St. Louis for training. And I said, I thought you guys hired me. And they said, yeah, but we use your card and then we reimburse you when it's done. I said, oh. I said, I'll call you back. So then I called MasterCard and I said, MasterCard, my thing is maxed out. I just got a job offer. Will you please put $500 on my credit card so I can get a plane ticket and get this job? And they did. And if they hadn't, I probably would not have been able to keep that job. If I can't manage a $500 plane ticket, then managing a city with millions of dollars is probably not a good thing.
Sometimes you have to look at plan B.
But anyway, we did, and it worked out okay. The only bad thing was Barb's had to stay in Boise for a while because she promised her son she would be there in high school for him, and so I came here by myself for a few months, I guess. It wasn't wow, it was a while, but I was working 14, 16 hours a day, so it really didn't matter at that point. So.
That's been one of the things about thoughts and beliefs as far as your stories is told there. That's about just taking a belief, yes, that you can do it. Yes, that you can make it happen. Yes, that you're going to overcome the obstacles, whether it was yeah, we don't need you, whether it was the cold call, whether it was needing the funds to book a flight. You just went ahead and did that next thing. Do you have a trick, or what is your trick for pushing that button that says do something? I'm sure as this is heard, that's going to be a key question. What do you do when you're stuck to leverage yourself to go forward?
You do something. Who knows what it's going to be? I mean, it depends on the situation. You know, but by the same token, we will do something on this project as well. And we will get there if we live long enough.
The same philosophy, you just keep doing something.
You know, as long as you're moving forward, as long as you're moving forward and attempting something, you will connect with somebody at some point. You know, I got people even today that I've talked to before that have not called me back, but yet when I put on a little video about my granddaughter today, they looked at it and commented.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's that slow, steady connection.
Drip.
We
Drip.
we hear all these stories about how quick somebody did it and whatever, but at the moment, that's not us.
Mm-mm. Mm.
So
Yes.
you both said at the moment, that's not us. And I know you're in I love the drip, drip, drip process, where it's just go out and do something. How do you maintain that ability, Barb, to just keep doing something? And I'm going to liken it to when I clean houses. If I would go in and clean the house and nobody came home, I could be done. But if somebody came home, I felt like I had to start over. How do you keep starting over and turning the faucet on or keeping it on?
I think that some of that has to do with, I guess I will call it your personality, what you were born with or turned into over your lifestyle, what you've been either taught or absorbed, that you want to live your life by. You know, it's being somewhat loyal to your project, somewhat I guess, invested in it enough that you want to see it succeed, so you do what you can, which sometimes you do and sometimes you don't, but I would say a majority of the time you do, you follow through. Because there's been times when I definitely haven't wanted to. Dan knows this. Sometimes I guess it is with the challenge, you know, we are in this 10-day challenge of the social media. That's pretty much the only way it got me into doing what I have done this week, never done before, and it actually produced a client. She's at the deciding point right at the moment. So we'll see. So
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so it will be interesting to see if my foray into social media has some concrete success.
So for someone who is, we're going to say stuck, who thinks I can't do this, I'm just, and it has nothing to do with any specific project or product. It has to do with that internal belief. What would you say to them to help them tweak and know that they can move forward in life as a whole?
My client, you mean?
No, just some random person that watches this in 5 years that feels like they can't move forward doing whatever it is. They can't get out of bed that day. What would you say that would encourage them to go ahead and take action and do something?
I'd have to think about that. Doesn't come directly to me. What would I say to them? Sometimes it's take the pressure off yourself. And that's about all I can think of at the moment.
I like the way you add at the moment. You said that at the moment. You both use that at the moment.
And
Dan, how would you encourage someone that feels totally stuck and not able to do something?
You know, you have to be asking questions. You know, what is it you're stuck with? What do you want to do that you feel like you're having a problem with? You know, and then you want to get to why do you need this? Why do you want this? And you know, you can get to, like Tony Robbins has a thing. It's like you ask why 7 times, and each time that you ask that question, why is that answer to why is that reply to first question important to you? And then you get to why is that second answer important to you? Why is the third answer important to you? By the time you get to the 7th answer, you're probably getting down to the truth. And when I did that, basically, it was the 7th answer was because I didn't think I was worthy. And that comes from a history of feeling inadequate. You know, when Barb and I were in Oregon, and we were attending a class called subtle communications from the heart. We were driving back the second day, and the word inadequate came to me while we were driving back. And I realized that all my life I'd felt inadequate. And so what was I, about 50 at the time, Barb, give or take? You know, maybe 55, I don't know, somewhere in there. But all my life I felt inadequate. And I did that because I was the only stepchild of 9 and the oldest. And my mom and dad and stepdad argued over my treatment. And my mom set out to prove that she was not going to treat me better than his kids. And by the way, his kids are my brothers and sisters, and I love them to death. And you know, so they have nothing to do with that. But you know, so I would tell you I was physically, in my mind, abused. And her choice of weapon, and that's what I call it, was a little brown extension cord. And she would use it until she got tired. And, you know, I didn't speak to my mom for almost 30 years after I left the house. We did reconcile later, you know, but even though I had accomplished a lot of things at work, had a published book, was a public speaker, did, you know, I had clients like Ralston Purina, Edward G. Jones, Goodwill Industry. I was the only male speaker for 4 of Clemson University's For Women by Women, for 4 different conferences they had. They allowed 1 male speaker each year. And you know, so I had all these things that if you start adding them up on the plus side, and yet I felt inadequate. So, you know, so you look at that and so you work harder to prove you're not.
Thanks for sharing that. Barb, anything you want to add?
I still haven't changed my mind, although I can think of many things to do, you know, some of which might be, you know, have you read any self-help books? You know, have you read any inspirational or spiritual books that of authors you like? Have you found a partner that you would like to work with who you can share up days and down days? When you're down, they'll bring you up, and when you're up, you'll help them come up with you. So sometimes those kind of things can help happen. Kind of like having a workout partner to keep you working out. Could be
definitely.
Yeah. Or to inspire you to work out. You know, some of it's inspiration. So
Well, I want to thank you both for being on and your incredible words of wisdom. And when I learn how to post this properly on YouTube, I will make sure to put a link. So if people have questions about that product we were talking about, they'll be able to find you. And yes, that is one of my just keep working on a project, is the technology part. I have been forced to learn many new things over the last year. But I do want to thank you so much for jumping on tonight, for thoughts and beliefs and tips that we can all take away to start transforming our stuck thoughts. So have a great night, and let's see, next week will be energy healing.
Well,
okay.
I'm glad you changed to 6 o'clock.
And it's changed to 6 o'clock. Yeah. And now maybe one of these days I will be home and available at 5 to jump on that same Zoom with you.
Well, that'd be fun. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get the emails, but life is my life right now.
Yes.
And I'm truly about having to choose priorities.
Right.
You know, I had a
Um,
job once with Mel that it was the busiest I'd ever been, and I had to every day choose what not to do.
Yes.
It was the busiest I'd ever been. I was running a digital department in the city of St. Louis for the home company, and every day I had to decide what not to do that day. So, uh, it's the only time I ever had that issue, honestly. But it was a challenge. So,
Sometimes you can delegate and sometimes you just reschedule it to yourself, I'm sure.
yeah, so,
So all we need to remember is don't sink when the boat starts going under.
mm.
Just do something.
Put on your floaties.
That works too.
Catch floaties.
All right. Thanks
All
for
right,
joining Thoughts and Beliefs.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night. Figure